story of Ronaldo Allen Sr. Every game has 4 quarters, so does every life story. From Friday Night Lights to life's hardest fights, Ronaldo Allen played the game with grit, grace, and God-given purpose. He wasn't just a player, he was a leader, a father, a warrior, and a man who gave everything he had every single quarter. This powerful documentary dives deep into the life and legacy of a man who never gave up on the field, on his family, or on his faith. This is more than football. This is legacy. This is 4 quarters.
Hello, my name is Ronaldo Allen, and welcome to the 4 quarters. 4 quarters is a football documentary I wrote about my life. Each quarter represents a different team that I played for. The first is the Little League East Cleveland Chiefs, high school Shaw High, college Akron University, and the last one, Tidewater Sharks semi-pro football team while I was in the Navy. Whole purpose of this movie is because I had 4 grandsons. And let's face it, I'm not going to always be around. So if something ever happened to me and they asked to pop out play football, so I'm going to be able to show them this movie. So sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, grab your coat. Let's pull these curtains back and enjoy the movie. We are currently in my old neighborhood where I grew up at before I moved to East Cleveland on East 65th Street. And right ahead, you're going to see an empty field here. I believe this is where the apartment building used to be that we lived in. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this space right here. So we lived on the second floor of this apartment building. And when my father passed away, we ended up getting robbed. So they knew that it was a single parent now with 4 kids. And one day after my mother came home from work, they bum rushed the steps and pushed her into the house as she was turning the key. They ended up tying her up and put all the kids in one of the bedrooms and locked us up. Now this was during the winter time, and they had a U-Haul truck, and they were just cleaning us out, robbing us of everything that they could fit in the U-Haul truck, and nobody heard nothing as the guys was taking all our stuff down the steps and loading up a U-Haul truck. They took so much stuff that they couldn't even fit it all in the truck, and later we found stuff just laying out in the snow. I remember going to the police station with my mother, looking at a lineup to see if we knew who had broke into our apartment at the time. But shortly after that, we moved down the road to a street called Linwood, which was another apartment building. And after being there a short time, I think the neighbors was complaining because we was making too much noise. Because once again, you talking 4 little kids living in an apartment building, jumping up and down. So eventually my mother got tired of the neighbors complaining, and we ended up leaving Cleveland, and my mother bought a house in East Cleveland. So that's the story of how we got to East Cleveland. But there was a lot of memories here on East 65th Street. I remember just being outside, watching my father work on cars every day after school. and him giving me and my cousins a little bit of money to go up to the store and get him a pack of cigarettes and a pop or something back in the day. Back in the day, you could write your kids a note about what type of cigarettes you're getting, and then go up to the store and give it to the cashier and come back with the cigarettes. And then on Linwood, one of my memories from Linwood was during the days of a Nerf football, when we used to play Nerf football all the time. And those are the memories I have living over here in Cleveland.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm from EC. 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 Better have a wrist if you wanna be a pitch man. I'm from EC. 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 Better have a wrist if you wanna be a pitch man. I'm from EC. 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 Better have a wrist if you wanna be a pitch man.
So we're on the corner of my old street in East Cleveland called Roxbury. And another way that I stayed in shape throughout the whole year was right on this corner across the street used to be a barbershop called Dexter's Barbershop. And Dexter used to be a part of a running club. And at a young age, after cutting our hair, he told us about his club, and me, my brother, and my sister Valerie joined his running club. And basically, the running club was a group of men that used to run 5Ks, 10Ks, and marathons throughout the whole year. So that's how most of my family became good in distance, because we always ran 10Ks on a weekend. And I'll never forget, one time I ran 2 marathons in one day. Well, I ran a 10K in the morning, and later on that evening ran another 10K, which is unheard of, but I was able to get it done. My brother was my biggest competition when it came to these 10Ks. I was never, ever able to beat him. Came close, but never beat him. One of the most popular 10Ks we would enter would be Repco Marathon. They would have a Repco Marathon every single year, and they still have it to this day. And we will always enter the 10K. Here, let me show you a picture of me running in the 10K, along with a couple of certificates I won over the years.
Hey, how y'all doing? My name is Anthony Sheldon, also known as Tony. I grew up on Roxbury, down the street at 1831 Roxbury. And over the years, I had a ball with the people that I grew up with on this street. Bernardo Allen, for one of them, we was always teammates, playing against his brother and Charles C. all the time. So they always thought they could beat us. And they were older than me by at least 3 to 4 years. So I still kept up with him. And Kip always thought he was just super fast. But all he did was run a straight line down. So I used to know how to guard him. But back to us playing football over here. We used to play, we was kind of different kids. Kind of rougher than the kids, today kids, because we played tackle touch. Yeah, you see, this is the grass right here that we played. He would tackle you over here and touch you over here. But you know sometimes you're gonna miss this grass and hit this concrete. But we still played no matter what. So I think about this, taught me how to be a quarterback. It taught me how to be a teammate. and it taught me how to be a good neighbor. Because we come out here, they'll tell you, when I was growing up, they used to say I used to be the bully. I used to come and get the kids out the house to play football. If we was short a kid, or short 2 kids, I'm gonna go knock on Freddie Mahone house, Clifford house, rest in peace. I'm getting them out the house. If they don't come out the house, I tell them when I see them, we fight. Just so we can have fun and play football. But in the meantime, by us playing football, it taught me how to be tough. So, from the way we used to play out here, we used to start at this pole. When we started about this drive, man, between this sewer, and then as we got older, we said that was too short, and we went from this pole to this pole. And I mean, me and Renardo, as we played, we used to, like Bernie Kosar had to do when he was with Bill Belichick. We in dirt, drawing plays. You go down here, make a left, cut, down, and throw the ball. And that's what I would do. I would sit back, had confidence, and Renardo just say, just throw the ball up. I'm going to get it. And I just throw the ball up, and he come down with it like he did at Shaw. So, and also, growing up over here, there was a little league football team called the Chiefs. And I used to always see the other kids coming home in football gear. We ain't playing football. I'm telling my grandfather and grandmother, I want to play football. So they put me in football. I think I started off in the Chiefs in 1976 to 1981. And I missed the year they went to California. So doing the Chiefs, man, I played offensive line, I played punter, I played kicker, quarterback, lineman, whatever you name. And I'm going to give him one incident I don't even know that you remember. Is we scrimmaged, Renardo and them, they was on the midgets, and I was on the peewees. So we had a scrimmage. Renardo played tight end, I can never forget. So he playing tight end, I'm playing defensive tackle, and I'm going against one of his teammates. And I'm getting in, bam, almost get a sack. And his coach look at him like, how's y'all letting this guy get in? And I remember Renardo, from that next down, I didn't make a play. I didn't get off the line of scrimmage because Renardo double teamed me. So he double teamed me, and I couldn't do anything. But as a tight end, he was good. As you also know, he played wide receiver for Shaw High. So, but during them years at the Chiefs, man, I'll never forget, I was on this street. We were just out throwing the football, and my coach was out here, Mr. Austin, and Mr. Washington. And I was just throwing the ball one day. And he seen how far I was just throwing the ball, and then one day he said, you can't throw that far. So I just took the ball one day, he was out there, and I just threw it. And then he said, let me see you do that again. And I sat back, and I threw it again. He said, Tuesday, you're going to quarterback. I said, huh? Because we had a good guy that was playing quarterback, but the guy's name was Anthony Washington. So I ended up taking his position on that day in the Chiefs and playing quarterback for the first time in my life. So it was good. I almost scored a 65-yard touchdown, but the guy hit me from behind and I fumbled. So I never got a chance to get a running touchdown as a quarterback. So that was just some of my experience with the Chiefs. My grandfather had became the manager of the Chiefs, and that's when we used to get all the best equipment, because he was the equipment guy, so we got all the good equipment, the best helmets, best shoulder pads, the best pads, whatever. We had the best, because we had top picks. So that's about it that I can remember.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kevin Salters. I'm the neighbor of Renardo Allen, and I'm so happy to be part of this presentation that he's doing, this video that he's doing. He used to live right next door to me, right here, and so we all grew up together. And he's really a good guy, real good guy. I mean, you know, I can't think of too many people that I have a lot of respect for than like I have for him. Renardo, we used to play with football in the street. His brother Raymond, all of us used to play. Raymond was a good player also. Raymond was good. So we were a little older than Renardo, but he used to give us the run for our money. Just because we was older didn't mean anything. He's always been a good football player. I remember we played for the East Cleveland Chiefs. We were on the bigger team. He was on a smaller team, but he was a beast. He's always been a beast playing football. Then from the East Cleveland Chiefs, he played for Shaw. He was real good. I ended up graduating from Shaw, went into service. He was still playing. And then from there, he went to Akron. And so I lost a little touch of him after I was in the service. When I came back, it was just like I never left. You know, we hung out together, did a lot of things together, you know. We always get together on Veterans Day. And but as far as his football career, man, you couldn't beat him. His hands was awesome. He didn't miss a pass. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, you can talk to a lot of people. Renardo was an excellent football player. Excellent, one of the best. Some people, we were seniors, some people were threatened by their position of football. We played for Shaw because he was just that good. He can come up, you know, he can play varsity. It didn't matter, you know. He's always been a good football player that had a lot of heart, you know. So, I mean, I don't know what to say, what more to say.
Taking off my coat, clearing my throat.
Good afternoon. My name is Norman James, and I'm happy to be here today to tell you about the East Cleveland Chiefs team. A legend, team's a legend, coaches are the legend. The sad thing I have to say, out of all these years, I am the last of the coaches, of the original coaches with the East Cleveland Chiefs. That we started the Chief in 1969 at a school called St. Philomena's, later became Shaw West. St. Philomena's was located on Eddy Road, well not really Eddy Road, but Euclid, near the corner of Eddy Road. So there was a Catholic church there, still there, the church is still there, but it was a school. So we had beat St. Anne's, which was the #1, back then that was considered the St. Ignatius of St. Ed's, and we beat them in the championship pretty bad. And then the next year they told us that we really couldn't be in the league until they could really make sure that all the kids were the right age. And funny thing was, two of the teachers that were at St. Philomena's belonged to St. Anne's Parish, and they told them these were all 7th graders beating up your 8th grade team. So after that, a guy named John Carter came, and him and I met, we talked, and he said he had a brother. He said, you know, Norm, I'm going to do an impersonation of John, it's probably bad. He goes, Norm, we're having the same thing. My brother in Wellsville, they're doing the same thing. And we got a guy in Steubenville in Warren, Ohio, same thing. We beat them guys, and all of a sudden we can't be in the league anymore. And Mr. Gaines and Mr. I'm going to come back to his name again because he was like a politician. Butts, Stacy Butts. He said, why don't we form our own league? Let's meet with all those guys. So John, we had a meeting, and we found out, and it's no different today, whatever's happened in one inner city seemed to be happening in another inner city. So we formed the Tri-State League. And from that, we would go to West Virginia, Wheeling, West Virginia, New Cumberland, Wellsville, Steubenville, Warren, Ohio, and they would come up here. And we would play, and we would use Shaw Stadium. And John Carter had a philosophy and a mission that we would make sure that every child that played for the East Cleveland Chiefs would know who put it together, would know who's funding it. It was no Santa Claus, no. We wanted to let them know that it was the village that was doing this for you. And they respected that, and the kids were respectful. We didn't have fighting, we didn't have arguing amongst each other. And right now, today, that group, that 10 years worth of East Cleveland Chiefs back then are still together now like a brotherhood. We chartered planes. It was unheard of. People ask today, how in the world were we able to have brand new uniform every 2 years for not one team, not two teams, not three teams, but 4 teams? We have the midget, then we had the peewees, we would have the termites, and then we'd have the little termites, the little kids. And I would challenge anyone to play for us, and this is when you know that you're really doing things right. Out of all that playing and traveling, who really got injured seriously? Okay? So I'm proud to let folks know when the East Cleveland Chiefs actually got started and where. Then we had certain trophies. We had the Debbie, I think it's Debbie Jones, and forgive me if I can't remember the last name, Debbie Johnson maybe, if I think. Recall, my memory is good, but my recall button sticks. You have to forgive me, I'm in my mid-70s right now. She got hit by a car, one of our cheerleaders, hurrying to practice. Didn't want to miss practice, got her homework done, let her mother know, hey, okay, fine, and she was running and got hit by a car. And to honor her hard work, her tenacity, and even though it's sad, but that she wanted to come to practice so bad, so we have what we call the Debbie Johnson, and that trophy was given every year to a cheerleader who exemplified what Debbie was doing, not only outside the classroom, but in the classroom. And how many football organizations recognize cheerleaders as well? And our cheerleaders were dressed as well as a football player, because we recognize that it must be a family, and that women count, girls count. They have to feel that they're wanted and they were important. And we develop a term for JV. They call it junior varsity. We call it just as important, all right? You're just as important as the varsity, just as valuable. So that was our definition of JV. You're just as valuable. And we would tell the kids in life, nothing is hard. Hard just means haven't applied real devotion. And everyone that came through the Chiefs, they were devoted. From the mothers, the Mrs. Ellen, the Lockharts, the Bush, the Harrises, the Spots, the Barclays, the Fields, the Herberts, the Rays. I'm going to get in trouble. So if there's anyone that I forgot, it's just that, again, my memory is good, but my recall button sticks. Now we're going to talk about a special player. Ronaldo, Mama Boy, Allen. And the only reason why we call him Mama's Boys, and it wasn't that he was a mama boy at all, it's just that his mama would say, that's my boy, you better treat him right. That's my boy, he better play some more. That's my boy, you better put him in that position where he can go out there and hit somebody. And he would. He was a very versatile player. Ronaldo, I always laugh, particularly on defense, if they ran towards his end, we called it back then, outside linebacker. We just knew that it was going nowhere. We're going where? I used to call him Firecracker, and John would go, Firecracker, I said, he's going to blow that play up. And he would. He would absolutely blow the play up, and then later on in high school and college and giving back, he he is still a legend in my heart and in my mind. So if you have any grandkids, nieces and nephews, oh, he was for real. And they call me the mean man because I'm not mean, but I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. He was absolutely for real. And then he was at offensive end, and his eyes would light up. His mom would holler down, when you gonna call that play? When you gonna call that play? And I look up there, I got a plate. And one thing Mrs. Allen could do, she could do a lot of things, but she could cook. So I had to call it wide right. And wide right would be after we ran off tackles a couple of times, Brother Ellen would hit that tackle, then come out to the flats. Boom. Another touchdown it is. And he had great hands. So then we would, still the only team that I know of, Muni football team, that chartered their own plane through their own money. No Nikes, no Adidas, no Reeboks. Oh, they came, but we said, no, we don't need it. And they would say, well, these schools, and we knew that we had what the schools needed. They came to us. They didn't come to the Nikes, the Adidas, the Reeboks. But back then, Nike wasn't really the thing. It was more Converse. But we knew that we had a great product. And we had tutoring available too, because we made sure that they did their homework first. It wasn't all about football. It was about life. And we were instilling our kids the 3 T's. And you carry that in life. The 3 T's are temperament, tempo, turnover. You control your temperament. You dictate the tempo, and you minimize turnovers. Kids, we're always going to have some turnovers. That's just part of nature, but you minimize that. And then the 3 S's. And you can have all the skill you want on your team, but you got to have skills, you got to be serious, and then you have to have strength. And strength is both physical and mental. And every one of our players and parents, they understood the strength part. I don't care if your son or daughter has all the skill in the world. If they're not serious about their craft and they don't understand mental strength and physical strength, you can't be part of this organization.
Welcome to quarter number 2. But before I get started, let me finish quarter number 1 a little bit. The ending year of my East Cleveland Chiefs experience, there was a rumor that I wasn't going to Shaw, believe it or not. And the head football coach caught wind to it, and he ended up setting up a meeting with my mother to make sure that I went to Shaw. So I never forget this. He came to the house, and he sat me and my mother down, and he told my mother, if I go to Shaw and do good my freshman year, I would never see a down of JV. That was the promise he made to me and my mother just so I could go to Shaw. So I ended up going to Shaw, had a great freshman year, and I never did see a down of JV. But let's get back to that freshman year. I will always be remembered my freshman football year as for the catch and the hit. Let me explain the catch. The catch was like a left-handed diving catch near the sideline, right by my coach. And the referee said that it was incomplete, I was out of bounds or something. He said that there's no way a 9th grader can make that catch. That's what he ended up telling my coach. And my coach told me the story after the game was over. Then next, there was the hit in the 9th grade. We were playing against a team, and our quarterback threw an interception. And I was so mad that he threw an interception. I hit the guy so hard, and I ended up knocking him out of the game. Now, what's crazy about that hit is I started crying because this guy's knocked out, not moving. I'm in the 9th grade. I thought I killed a guy. I'm going to keep it real with you. So the rumor, well, it wasn't a rumor, but it got back to the varsity team that I was crying, and they all was teasing me for a long period of time, and I was upset about them teasing me. But I told myself, okay, y'all keep on teasing me, because next year, when I'm in the 10th grade and playing varsity, I'm taking somebody's position. And that's exactly what I did. Came 10th grade, I ended up starting defensive back, and I got a lot of playing time also at receiver. But overall, my whole Shaw experience, I mean, we had our ups and downs. I always felt like our school had a lot of talent, but sometimes the coaches didn't make it work or call the right plays or whatever. But overall, I enjoyed my experience at Shaw High School. Nothing like Friday night lights. We get ready for the games. We put on them uniforms. Every Friday you got to wear your jersey around school, so everybody got to see who was wearing certain numbers. You felt like the big guys on the campus of the Shaw High School, and it was a nice experience. But even if we lost the games, the benefit that I had was, well, I had my sister cheering for me, but I also had my high school sweetheart cheering for me. So imagine after all the games, right after the game, coming out of the locker room, my high school sweetheart would be right there along the wall waiting for me to come out. And we was real cool. Me and my mother was real cool with her grandparents who helped raise her. So we would go grab some pizza and go to her house after the games. My mother would stay upstairs with her grandmother, and they would let me go down in the basement and chop it up with my high school sweetheart. But again, high school football, it was great. I enjoyed it. I wish we had more wins than losses, but overall, it was a great experience. And that is the end of quarter number 2. You see the jerseys behind me. You see the jackets behind me. This right here, everybody had to get them a varsity jacket when they were at Shaw High School. 44, split in, defensive back. Class of 83 and Libra. Now let me tell you about this jacket right here. Nobody really seen this jacket. I only wore this jacket twice my whole life, and I'm gonna tell you why. At the time my mother bought me this jacket, she bought it like 3-4 sizes too big. So I would have to tuck up under the bottom of this jacket just to wear it. And now that I could probably fit it, I refuse to put it on because the jacket looked brand new. So if I was to wear this at a football game now, some people think I got an ego or call me arrogant or whatever. Like, this dude been out of school 40-something years and he went and got a school jacket made. But let me see if I can fit this jacket now. Once again, I've been out of school for a long time. Sleeves are a little tight. They look good on me. What you think? My mother had everything put on this jacket. Most athletic. My name, Libra. I guess zodiac signs was a big thing back in the early 80s. So back when she had this jacket made for me, I used to have to roll this up just like this because it was so big. And then check out the back. My mother made sure I looked sharp. Again, I love this jacket, but I don't know if I ever wear it up to the school. That's my time. Oh, ASAP Media, you still here? You know what? I'm glad you're still here. A few things I forgot to tell you about. Let's take a time out. When I was at Shaw High School playing varsity in the 10th grade, one of the best things we used to do is have these pep rallies. You never know who's watching you when you're down on the field, but when we had our pep rally when I was in the 10th grade playing varsity, and they call out your name and you go out to the middle of the gym floor, can you believe I got a standing ovation? That was crazy, and I am not capping. That was crazy, getting a standing ovation at that pep rally. But you know what else I used to enjoy? Jay-Z had Beyonce wearing his chain. My high school sweetheart used to wear my number around the school on game day. And she was a cheerleader for my team. Check it out. Check out these pictures. the University of Akron. I'm currently on the campus of Akron University. As you see here, this is the football field that was built on the campus. Back when I played, as mentioned before, we played at the Rubber Bowl that was a little distance away from the university. But now, they get the luxury of playing right here on the campus. Welcome to quarter number 3. You see the shirt, Akron University. Should have been going to Michigan State, ended up going to Akron University. Akron was a great, fun school to go to. I never forget my first trip there. I never forget my first day on the football field there. But let's start with the dorms. Of course, the football team had to come to school a little bit early for summer camp. All of the football players at the time got put into this dorm that used to be a Holiday Inn. So just think about how cool that was that all the football players are staying in an old Holiday Inn. So we had the bathrooms right in our dorm, where some schools, the bathroom would be down the hall. But anyway, I remember that first practice during the summer, everybody laughing at me because we doing two-a-days. And in the cafeteria, you know, I got my one little hamburger, I got my one little thing of fries, my one cup. And I'm looking at everybody else, and they got like 5 hamburgers, 4 bags of fries, 4 drinks on their tray. I'm like, how in the world are they eating all of this? They was like, oh, just stick around. When you get used to these two-a-days, you're going to be eating just like us. And you know what? They was right. Before you knew it, I was smashing like them. The two-a-days was no joke. Playing college football was quite an experience. It was a dream come true to be able to play on that level. I remember my freshman year, we happened to have a JV team. Sounds crazy, don't it? We only played 3 or 4 games, but I started JV, and at the time I was 3rd string defensive back on varsity. So I believe we won all 4 of our JV games. I mean, we had an awesome team, just an awesome team. I started at defensive back, ended up with a couple of interceptions, and the highlight of that experience on that JV team was playing against Baldwin Wallace. At the time, that's the school that my brother went to. So anyway, I'm backpedaling in that game. I fell. I was embarrassed that I fell. As the running back was coming around, I hurried up and jumped up. I hit the running back so hard, I ended up breaking his leg. Sounds crazy, I know. And my brother knew the guy whose leg got broke. So the next day, you see the guy on crutches on campus, and he telling my brother the story. And my brother like, yeah, I know, that was my brother that hit you. Kind of crazy. Didn't mean to do it. It was all in the game of football. Ended up having a great game. The whole Akron University, again, was a great experience. The Greek life was crazy. The partying was crazy. Everything about Akron was a lot of fun. And after Akron, I ended up playing semi-pro football. Stay tuned for quarter number 4. Welcome to quarter number 4. You see the shirt. Later on, after Akron University, I ended up going to the United States Navy. So while in the Navy, stationed in Virginia, I don't know who told me about it, but they said it was a tryout for a football team. I might even saw it in the newspaper or something. So I said, you know what? I always wondered what would have happened if I would have made it to the pros. Would I have been able to play with the big boys or not? So by trying out for this team, I had to prove to myself I could play with the big boys. So I'll never forget, I get to practice. First thing I found out is we had to get our own equipment. So let me tell you a quick crazy story. The shop that I found to go buy my own helmet, shoulder pad, cleats and everything was owned by somebody that I played with in the East Cleveland Chiefs. I wish I could remember his name, but I can't. And he ended up, of course, giving me a discount on all my equipment and everything. So my first year of playing for the Tidewater Sharks in Virginia, I tried out for receiver. That was always my favorite position, so why not? But let me explain something to you. When you playing for these minor league teams or semi-pro team, they're loaded with superstars. If you think about it, everybody in the area, all the different high school stars that didn't go to college is playing on this team. All the people that went to college and didn't make it to the NFL, they playing on this team. So when I tell you our team was loaded with talent, we was loaded with talent. Probably the best football team I ever played on. And we had some of the greatest coaches ever too. So anyway, I never got to break the starting lineup playing receivers because we had some great receivers. I had a few highlights in practice. I remember this one hand catch in the back of the end zone in practice, but that wasn't gonna get me to move in front of our starting receiver. So long story short, I didn't get to play the whole first year that I tried out. And to be honest with you, I quit mid-season. Can you imagine me quitting football? The first time in my life I ever did this. So anyway, I started thinking about it. If you was playing in the pros and you wasn't doing good, and you know that competition is crazy, what would you do? Quit? No. You try to fight it out and make the team. So the following year I came back, but this time, by being a versatile player, I said I'm gonna try out for our defensive back. Now I know we had some good defensive backs, but from watching them, nobody could hit as hard as I could out of our defensive backs, bottom line. So I would say, second game into the season, I ended up winning the starting spot as a defensive back, and I ended up starting at cornerback. By this time, the Navy caught wind to it. They started following me at my games, and they sent out their reporters one day. And the first game that they came out to check me out, I ended up with a quarterback sack, an interception, and about 6-7 tackles. They wrote up a nice big article on me on the base newspaper, and it was a great article, and it was a good time. And after that, everybody on base started coming to my games to watch me play. But unfortunately, that was the last year I was stationed in Virginia. I had a great season. We ended up winning the division. And if you watch the video of my trophy case, you're going to see a football that I got autographed by all the guys on the team after winning our division. But we went to the playoffs, and we ended up losing in the playoffs, and that was the end of my football career, and that was the end of the fourth quarter. Again, this documentary was wrote for my grandsons, mainly my grandson Trey, who's currently playing football right now. So Trey, if you're watching this movie, there's a few things I want you to know. Make sure your books come before football. Make sure you remain passionate about football. And the way to be better than everybody else, Trey, is success starts on the practice field. When you first started playing football, I noticed you used to always try to be the first or second when y'all ran laps. But then as you got more and more years in, you kind of slacked off a little bit with that. So I need you to bring back that same energy and always do your best at practice every single day. The coaches always notice that. You want to be in the front of the line when you do these sprints, laps or whatever. You always want to give your best in practice, because if you give your best in practice, you're going to give your best in the games. So remember, books first, then football, but enjoy playing. It's all about having a great time when you're on that field. And as you can see, God is about to open up the clouds, and it's about to rain. So I hope y'all been enjoying this documentary. When I decided to make this documentary, at first I wanted to write a book, but I figured it'd be a little bit quicker to just do the documentary instead of spending all that time writing a book. Let me tell y'all what I found. I wrote this book here 20 years ago. It was called My Godly Gift, Sports. Now what this book covered was football, basketball, and track. So if I ever wanted to write a book on football, all I got to do is go back to this book, get the information out of here, and add what I know now that I'm a little bit older. The purpose of writing this book back then was I knew as I got older I wasn't going to remember all of this stuff. But just imagine 20 years ago, I already flicked through some of the pages. There's a lot of stuff I forgot about. Matter of fact, we're going to go in the house and I'm going to show y'all some of the information that's in this book that I left out. So one of the chapters I want to share with y'all, check this out. This was some of my football hobbies back in the day. This game right here was real popular when I was young. A handheld football game. That was real nice. And then we all know about the electric football set. This was around back when I was in 7th and 8th grade. This was a huge deal back then. So you see this picture, I bought my son one. He wasn't excited over it like we were as kids, but this was huge. Every time I think about electric football, I think about one of my classmates, Reggie Brown. He was real big at the electric football games back in the day when we was at Kirk in junior high school. As I flick through some of these pages, this was another hobby of mine. I used to put these little sports frames together when I was in the Navy and sell them to some of my shipmates. So let's say if you were a big Walter Payton fan, I would go get all of these sports football cards, put them in this frame, make it look really nice, and then sell it. So I made a lot of money doing this when I was in the Navy. A few more of the frames I put together. Just talk about that snow bowl that I mentioned earlier in the documentary, where we used to always play football in the snow back on Roxbury. Check this out. This was a picture of me playing for the East Cleveland Chiefs on the bus. Back in those days, you wouldn't believe this, but in the 70s, we wasn't riding school buses to the games. We was in Greyhound buses. That's how big our organization was at the time. Me getting one of my trophies. This me, the Debbie Johnson Award. I shared with Frank Barber, one of my teammates. This is me getting on the airplane, going to California to play in a championship football game. Can you believe the first time I ever rode on a plane was when I was around 10 years old, and it was to go to California to play a football game. And it's a picture that I took with the people that I was staying with in California, along with my brother in the back. Right here, this was a huge catch I made in our championship game to help us win. Just another picture of me playing for the Chiefs, walking onto the field wearing number 49 when I played for the Pee Wees. This is my sister. It was always cool having my sister cheer for the East Cleveland Chiefs. This right here is an article that they put in the paper for our homecoming game. They picked 4 or 5 of the best players, and we got put in the Call-In Post in the East Cleveland paper at the time. And they did a nice little article. Me in 1975, wearing my Chiefs uniform. My little sister Keisha also cheered for the Chiefs. Our team picture. My last year for the Chiefs, wearing number 42. I wore number 42 because one of my football idols was Paul Warfield. This little drawing here, one of my classmates made this for me when I played freshman football. His name was Robert Bailey. He could draw real good, and he put this picture together for me. Moving on, freshman football certificate. For those that wanted to know, our freshman year we went 4-2-2. Freshman football picture. High school varsity. Football coach Jim Brown. Varsity football team picture. So many amazing stories and articles in here. There's my two football idols. I grew up loving Lynn Swann from the Pittsburgh Steelers and Paul Warfield when he played for the Cleveland Browns. This right here is a nice article that made the paper. It says Shaw is a losing proposition primarily due to the ball-hawking talents of defensive back Ronaldo Allen. This picture was taken in our house with all the trophies of me and my brother and sisters. Some more certificates, football pictures, my varsity award, my quarterback John Talley. This article right here is when I made the all-star selection as a defensive back. Moving right along. Me when I got voted most athletic my senior year. My quarterback John Talley ended up playing for the Browns. It tied in for a little bit. Now I'm making it to Akron University. 2 uniforms that I wore. And here's all the Michigan State letters that I told you about earlier. So I was highly recruited by Michigan State, but for some reason, never got a visit. Never went down. I think if I would have went just for that visit, that's where I would have ended up going. All letters from Michigan State. They were sending me birthday cards, you name it. Look at all these letters from Michigan State. Akron University when we played my brother's school, Ball and Wallace. This is a letter from athletic department from Akron. A belated thank you for your attention and efforts you afforded to Ronaldo Allen. Ronaldo was an asset to Shaw High School, and I'm sure he will also bring the same enthusiasm and dedication to Akron University. Me playing in college, some flag football. This right here is cool. At Akron, we had a lift-a-thon, and I ended up bench pressing 240 pounds. That was pretty good for me back then, considering as a freshman I only weighed about 175 pounds. This is me playing for the Tidewater Sharks semi-pro. This is some of the autographs I got over the years of different NFL players. This is key. This is all the defensive backs when I played semi-pro. Some more pictures of certain football players I got to meet over the years. And I can go on and on. But you see how important it was to put this book together 20 years ago. My brother got to meet Jim Brown. I got to meet Bernie Kosar. But that's it. Said media, you still here? That's cool, because you know what? I got another time out. You know what? Everybody all hyped up over Travis Hunter playing defensive back and receiver. I did that way before Travis Hunter. I did that all 4 years of high school. I did that all 4 years of Little League. I started defensive back. I started receiver. Matter of fact, in high school, I bet you didn't know this, I ran back punts. I ran back kicks. I was on the kickoff team. I was even on the depth chart as the kicker at one point. Pretty much, I never hardly ever came out of the game in high school. And all this hype about Travis Hunter. But you know what? I like him though. I can't wait to see what he's gonna do in the NFL. What he did in college is what most people had an opportunity to do. I think if I would have played defensive back and receiver in college, I would have been able to do it too. He was just smart enough to get on the right team and let a coach allow him to do that. But I'm not hating. I'm just saying that's not hard to do. Play defensive back and receiver. In my opinion, after playing both positions my whole life, pretty much the same thing. When you're on defense, you backpedaling. When that ball go in the air, all of a sudden you're the receiver. It's not a big deal. But he won the Heisman. What do I know? He's in the NFL, and I'm sitting here making this documentary. Travis Hunter, good luck. I can't wait to see what you do in the NFL.
This ain't clean at all. It ain't clean. It ain't clean whatsoever. Don't worry about these other guys. You just take what you can get and then do what you do after. Trust in that theory. Trust in that problem. Trust in that doctrine, all right? That's what we do. All right? You got to quit dancing. No more dancing, okay? Stick your feet in the ground. Be sure. You're not, I don't look at you as a little dude, okay? So don't play like a little dude. All right?
Y'all can show some pride. Y'all can show some pride. Y'all can show some pride. Because defensively, they're doing whatever they want to us. So it's on you all now. I'm not gonna holler and curse. You all have 38-0 on your field. I told you, talking doesn't win football games. When playmakers got a chance to make plays, you have to make the play, man. You have to make the play. EJ, you got to eat. You got to get rid of that ball. You can't keep eating that ball getting sacked. If somebody ain't open, throw that shit over everybody's head, please, in the direction of the receiver. Stop taking those sacks. Offensive line, You say you're blocking, but I guarantee you we ain't got 30 yards in rushing. But you say everybody say they're blocking, but I guarantee you we don't have 30 yards in rushing. So either they're that good, which they may be, or you're that bad, which you may be. So the second half's going to tell what kind of character you guys have the rest of the way. Matter of fact, the second half is going to tell the way the next 3 games are going to be played. I haven't been wrong all season, and I'm not wrong right now. If you all don't go out this second half and ball out, and I mean ball out,
I have a question for you. If you could go back in time to one day in your life and relive one single moment, what would it be?
Hey, y'all see the t-shirt, MSU. Would you believe it or not, this was the school I was supposed to go to. But for some reason, my coach, Coach Brown, never took me down for a visit. Let me tell you about MSU. They were sending me letters, recruitment letters, all throughout my senior year. Birthday cards, calling me, everything. I have a stack of letters upstairs now in my room from MSU. I'm planning on sharing a few with you. But for some reason, we never made it to Michigan State for a football visit. We went to a couple of other schools, but I cannot understand why Coach Brown never took me to Michigan State. That could have changed my life forever if I would have went to a Big Ten school like Michigan State. Also at that time frame, guess what? One of their receivers was Andre Rison. Andre Rison went on to play in the NFL and have an outstanding career. I just think we could have been receivers together. Mr. Brown, I don't know what happened. I wish you were still here to talk about it. May you continue to rest in peace. And everybody in life got a what if. And that's my one big if. If I would have went to Michigan State University, what would have happened? You just left something in the locker, man. I don't know what you talking about. Hold on, y'all. I saw it in the locker room, man. I thought it was yours. So I grabbed it and I said, let me give it to him. Look at Mark. Thank you. A little memory for that first game. Look at Mark. He needed a blade. Mark needed a blade. Marlon looked easy. Hey, take pictures. Back to practice.
We can do this after practice.
So, about my father, Ronaldo Darius Allen Sr., one of the many joys was growing up and hearing his stories about how he excelled athletically as a star athlete, basketball, football, and track, but we want to talk about football today, right? So, growing up, I used to always go different places with my father, whether it was to picnics, movies, the mall. We could go to Walmart, and 9 times out of 10, if we're in Cleveland, we're gonna bump into somebody who knows who he is from a variety of sources. Sometimes it was photography, sometimes it was being a Freemason, sometimes it was being an Alpha, sometimes it was Navy, but I would say half of the time, the people that were coming up to me were saying, hey, young man, you know how bad your dad was in football? Oh, he was cold-blooded, man. I seen him make this catch. I seen him hit this tackle. I seen him do so many things. And as a young man growing up, it made me really proud. It made me extremely proud to hear how my father impacted the football field and impacted lives around him for years to come, for many, many, many years to come. So, you know, I took that, and as a young man myself, I came in, I played Little League football. My dad was number 44, so you know the first thing I did was to that 44 room. You know, I played Little League, I was a defensive end, and I would say the highlight of my career, two things. One was one of our football games. I'll never forget the day my dad came down from Ohio. This was in Georgia. He had football shirts on with my big face on it and 44, and seeing how proud he was, and I just looked over and seen him while I was warming up, and it just impacted me. It wanted me to hit 10 times harder, to make that tackle, to try everything in my abilities. So it was a beautiful thing growing up to have that as a model. I from there went on to play a little bit of high school football. You know, I didn't have the skills or the talent to match what my father did. However, the drive was always there. The intangibles were always there. I feel like the fundamentals of football help build you up to be a father, to be a man in this world, to be able to get hit and keep on going, I think is, you know, symbolism that you can use in life. And that's what I learned from my father. He took the biggest hits and he delivered the biggest hits. And I mean that on the field and off the field as well. So, you know, I'm happy to say that his football career impacted me. You know, the only regret I have is never having a chance to watch him suit up. But Lord knows I've bragged to everybody that I know to say, hey, my dad was this close to the NFL. He played semi-pro, tight water sharks, was knocking heads out, and, you know, would have been on ESPN, had some different things changed in his life, maybe some decisions about college would have switched things up a little bit. But hey, we're here today. You're watching this documentary, and it's a beautiful thing because sometimes your legacies live well beyond the person behind you. And you'll find that out if you have a 5-minute conversation with my son, who is extremely passionate about this game of football. Wide receiver, defensive back, following right in his footsteps. He's been playing for about 4 years, and honestly, I could say he's better than me than I was at that age. 10 times better. And I know understanding that your grandfather played this game to the maximum heights with the maximum effort, to see him on the sideline supporting him in practice and in games, it's just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing to see. So it's legacy building. It's legacy building, from the foundation to the principles of this football field, to passing that on to me, to passing that on to my son, and hopefully one day for his son and for the future kids, the future Allen men. So just wanted to share a little bit about his football story, man. Like I said, if I would have had the opportunity to watch him, then I'd be able to share in some of the memories that a lot of his classmates and friends had. But one thing I know, the man was bad when it came to this football, because there's no way that people can come up to you 30, 40, 50 years later and still remember the highlights in the exact moments where this man lit it up on the field. Everybody knew this man was going pro. Probably the most famous non-athlete in all of Cleveland, Ohio. So, you know, just wanted to share a little bit. I hope that helps. And Ronaldo, signing out.
I want to dedicate this documentary to my mother. She was a key role in my life throughout my whole football career, making sure that I had all the proper equipment, and she really took good care of me. And she supported all of the games. Even when I went to out-of-town game, my mother was always there. She was my biggest fan. So that's going to conclude this documentary. But just like the Marvel movies, don't turn it off until it's at the very, very end.
What was your favorite thing to do when you were my age?
When I was your age, my favorite thing to do was play football. I used to love playing football.
Me too.
Yep, I played Little League football for this team called the East Cleveland Chiefs, and we had a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to maybe one day when you get to play football for a little league team, I get to come out and watch you play.
Okay.
How cool would that be?
Cool.
Your father played little league football too, and I drove all the way to Atlanta to watch him play.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him.
Now one day we both hope to watch you play little league football. Wouldn't that be cool? Hello, we got a special future football star in the making today. I'm gonna let him introduce yourself. Can you tell us your name, sir?
My name is Ronaldo Darius Allen III.
And what do they call you?
My friends call me Trey.
Okay, and how long you been playing organized football?
4 years.
And what teams did you play for?
Bedford Bearcats.
What was the first team you played for?
Euclid Panthers.
Okay. What made you start liking football?
Well, my dad, he's like the one who made me get into football. He like the one who made me play football, and my family, it's like a sports family.
I heard your grandfather played too. Is that true?
Yep.
I also heard that you just found out that he played the same position you played at that age. Is that true?
Yes.
And what positions are those?
Wide receiver, cornerback.
Okay. Which one do you like playing the most?
I like playing wide receiver.
But which one do you play right now?
Cornerback.
Okay. I heard you got an interception in the game last year. How did that feel?
It felt good. Last year was my time to shine.
All right. And what are you planning on doing this season?
I plan on working harder, getting to better myself and be better, do awesome.
Double reverse.
Yeah! Wide receiver back up. Wide receiver back up.
All right, Trey, this is you, Trey. Open field. All right, he got a little bit of leg, Jamie. Good tackle, Trey. Good tackle.
Papa, I got next.